Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Geek-Stew, and today, guys, welcome back to another episode of Geek Rants with Ike. I was actually just kind of thinking the other day, I haven't done like a Geek Rants in a long time, and I don't really do these often, just because when I used to do them, they were more filler episodes, if you will. But actually, I have something I wanted to talk about today, so I was like, it might make sense to do like a little episode about this. So. I know this isn't what everybody was probably expecting, but I'm trying to, continue to do content that like I enjoy making, and I don't know, I've just been kind of in one of those kicks where like I don't want to make the conspiracy videos, not because I don't like them, it's just I haven't really found any interesting conspiracies to talk about. Nothing that's really piqued my interest. And, I like the concept of using a conspiracy theory iceberg, but a lot of those are just repeated. And I kind of want to move away from that, just in general. But anyways, if you have any conspiracy theories that you think would be interesting to talk about, let me know in the comment section down below. Also, we're doing a little experiment today. I'm actually wearing my lapel mic as a lapel in an attempt to free up my hand, but also I can hold my script here with one, and then I can actually gesture with the other one, make it look a little more professional. So hopefully the audio is good. I'm gonna I might have to tweak the audio if it's too low. I don't know if I've ever actually tried using it like this, but we're gonna find out today. So, a couple of quick things before we get started. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe, follow us on social media, all of that good jazz. You know it, you've heard it a million times. Also, follow the Listen to Their Screams podcast. Definitely Listen to Their Screams is one of those things that I've been really enjoying doing lately. It's been a big project of mine. I talked about it a lot last week. It's something that happens every week on Thursdays, typically in the mornings, so around 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning Eastern Standard Time. And Dave, who is the host of the show, I'm his co-host. We're actually co-hosts together, I guess you could say. My fellow host, that's the word, my fellow host, Dave Dynasty, he does all the editing and he posts it up on his channel, but also he posts it up on, I almost said Instagram, no, Spotify and Apple. Links are in the description down below, as always. So with all the plugs out of the way, I actually wanted to tell you guys, I know I haven't mentioned it, but so I recently talked about going on a trip, and I just wanted to share this because I'm curious if anybody else out there has like the same like love for McDonald's breakfast bagels. So this came up the other day, and I wanted to mention this before we got into the actual video, but if you like the McDonald's breakfast bagels, let me know which one you like the best down below. To me, there's only one choice. It's the McDonald's steak, egg, and cheese bagel. My God, I love the steak, egg, and cheese bagels so much. I recently went to Indiana, and because down here in Florida, they don't have them, and I just wanted to share this beautiful picture of me and my bagel. I'll have this framed in my near future, but I got me a steak, egg, and cheese bagel, super good. But I'm very curious. Let me know if you like the bagels or if there's any McDonald's items that they've gotten rid of that you miss. Also, I didn't get to say it, but I hope everyone had a wonderful Halloween. I know it was last week, but I didn't really talk about it in my last video, I don't think. But I hope everyone had a safe and wonderful Halloween. I hope everyone's having a safe and wonderful beginning of November. It's turkey season, so hopefully if you partake in the Thanksgiving holiday, I partake in the terms of eating the food, but I don't partake in terms of the actual holiday itself. But I hope you're having a good time. On Halloween, I actually went out to dinner with some family in Fort Walton. I had a wonderful view of the ocean. One of my favorite things about moving down to Florida is that even though it's getting colder, still wonderful views down here, absolutely. So anyhow, enough about my life, enough about showing you guys food and wonderful views. Let's get into our rant today. All right, so if you do listen to the Listen to Their Screams podcast, you kind of might already know what I'm talking about today. We kind of talked about it a little bit on the podcast, not this week, but last week. This week's episode is actually a little shorter. It was pretty good, though. We talked about a movie that we actually got early access to called All Jacked Up and Full of Worms. If you want to know my full review, check out the Listen to Their Screams podcast. But something we talked about last week that kind of was just itching at me, and I wanted to kind of explore it a little more and maybe flesh it out into a quick video for you guys. Gatekeeping. So if you haven't been living under a rock, there are about 1 billion fandoms out there that exist, right? Everything from anime to movie to music to whatever. And all of them, well, if not all of them, a very large percentage of them are guilty of gatekeeping. So to define gatekeeping, I actually had to revisit a pretty cursed website, at least for when I was like in middle school, Urban Dictionary. So yeah, this is a website I haven't actually had a reference since like the Obama administration, which like, well, Obama's first term, I should say. Which it's weird because I'm now old enough to where like I can reference periods of my life by like who was president at the time. You know, what does the old people say? Back during the Nixon, administration. Yeah, I'm getting old. With that slight existential crisis out of the way, basically the definition of gatekeeping is when someone takes it upon themselves to decide who does or does not have access or rights to a community or an identity. So kind of the long and short of this is that there are folks who feel the need to kind of, you know, gatekeep and prevent other people from accessing their favorite materials, whether that be TV shows, movies, franchises, music, literally just being a person. There's like a whole thing about like people within the LGBTQ plus community who like don't want certain parts of that LGBTQ plus to be a part of the community. So they're kind of doing the whole gatekeeping thing, which is kind of crazy if you think about it. But yeah, it's kind of an infuriating concept, to be honest. And we see it a lot everywhere. Now I'm going to talk about like one specific example today that I think kind of irked me the most. But I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, hell, so okay, the other day I was on TikTok and yes, I watch TikTok. It's a perfect time, though. It's a perfect way to waste time. And actually somebody was gatekeeping conspiracy theories. I'm not going to lie to you. This person was like, you know, all these people that are getting into conspiracy theories now, you know, he was like, when I was telling people stuff about this in the early 2000s, they thought I was crazy and this, that, and the other. And like I get it. Like the whole concept of a conspiracy theory has, I would say, proliferated to the extreme in our current like media culture. So like conspiracy theories aren't really like conspiracy theories anymore, right? Back in the day, conspiracy theories were like a handful of people kind of know about this idea, and then like it gets kind of mentioned in lower circles, you know? So yeah, I mean, conspiracy theories have evolved, but this guy was like legitimately upset that people were like talking about conspiracy theories. And I was just sitting there, I'm like, I mean, first and foremost, it's great that you are as paranoid as you are, and that you've been spouting these theories for a long time. And I just, you know, why can't the rest of us also be paranoid? You know what I mean? Because it's just it's a crazy thing to gatekeep. But like, I thought to myself, and this is a legitimate thought I have, I was like, what are they going to gatekeep next? Mental illness? Well, yeah, okay. I guess we are gatekeeping mental illness now. Anyways, just in my opinion, it's a pretty petty and stupid position to take to gatekeep something, you know? It's like the guy who's walking in Walmart and sees a teenager wearing like a Metallica t-shirt, and he's like, name 5 Metallica songs now, you know? And it's just like, why? You know what I mean? But anyhow, my thought process, and this is kind of where I'm coming from, because this is how I hear people who gatekeep. They're like, wow, somebody else loves this thing that I love, right? They like spending their money on this product that I enjoy, this merchandise, and the people that are creating this content, and they keep watching it, and man, they're keeping it alive. But I swear to God, if somebody encroaches on my incredibly ridiculous territory surrounding this thing, I'm gonna get pissed. And it's honestly ridiculous. And we talked about this a lot, this particular like subject about like, why would you be mad about somebody else taking part in your favorite content, right? Why would you get mad about that? And I think a lot of people feel like they have this sort of, they have a right or a, I guess you could say, there's another word for it, but basically they feel like they deserve or they have some sort of like weird like territory around this concept or this thing. And instead of like just being like, you know, everybody can watch this, they have like this weird like entitlement to it. And basically one of the biggest things that I have personally been subjected to when it comes to gatekeeping was Resident Evil. So I think, in my opinion, one of the biggest hurdles of any community is just accepting material as material. So recently there was a Resident Evil TV show on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, I would personally go watch it if I were you. I really enjoyed it. It had a lot of really cool callbacks to the games and other movies, and it was a good time. But, you know, like, I know it wasn't the best show, right? It wasn't the world's greatest show. It wasn't like some brand new revolutionary take on it, you know. It had some interesting tales from the series, you know. It was a very enjoyable, I think, format for Resident Evil. I didn't think it was bad at all. You know, I really enjoyed the take on Wesker in the show and his clones, which I guess spoiler, but you know, Lance Reddick is also super fucking cool. His voice alone kind of makes him great in my book. But no, yeah, I mean, basically the entirety of the Resident Evil community, I mean, obviously not everyone, because me excluded from that phrase, I suppose, but most of them took like a giant heaping shit on this show, and it obviously got canceled, and I kind of figured it would, but it is what it is. And don't believe me, like, if you don't want to believe me, don't believe me, but just take a small gander at the Resident Evil, like, Reddit. There are plenty of posts about it that have been sprinkled out through the last year. Like, when the show initially came out, the Reddit was buzzing and pretty much everybody was shitting on it. But one of the top posts of this year was this picture. And like, obviously I know that they're just shitting on Resident Evil movies and show content, not exclusively the show, but like all of it. And I don't understand why. The Mila Jovovich movies are perfectly fine. Yes, they're not 100% source accurate, and neither is Welcome to Raccoon City. But they're making movies about your favorite video game franchise. Why not just enjoy them? So anyways, my point is still there regardless, but the point is like, why shit on it? Now, there are obviously flaws with the show, and there are obviously flaws with all of Resident Evil media. I mean, look at the original games from the 90s. Nothing like the voice acting of Resident Evil 1, but...
Oh, Barry!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right. Barry, thanks for saving my life.
Stop it! Don't open that door!
And Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
You know, it's endearing when it's the Resident Evil 1 voice acting, but if they say something that might be considered slightly cringe in the TV show, suddenly this TV show is the worst fucking thing since ever.
Right. I mostly just read Zootopia porn, so...
But as a diehard Resident Evil fan, I enjoyed the show, and I really enjoyed the movies. I enjoy the differences in the different interpretations, right? The different aesthetics, the different ways that they kind of went about things. And it does make me love Resident Evil more and more, and also makes me appreciate how much other people love Resident Evil. Because there are people like Paul W.S. Anderson and Johannes Roberts, who respectively did the older Resident Evil movies and the newer Resident Evil movie, and they both love Resident Evil so much that they wanted to make movies about it. And not only did they make movies about it, they made them different, right? They weren't just rehashing the games. But apparently that's what everybody wants. And here's the deal. I guess the point that I'm trying to make, and kind of poorly, if you will, is that I don't get why people can't just enjoy shit without ruining it for everybody else. Like, it's okay if it wasn't your favorite thing in the whole world, but like, why ruin it for literally everybody else? That's what I don't understand. I can't get why we can't just enjoy things and not be so critical all the time. Or hell, just enjoy shit and give constructive feedback. And this is something that I've had an argument with one of my good friends, Salsa Shark from Control Over C. He and I would go rounds on why I don't, because he is very critical of all media, right? Not just Resident Evil media, but of all media. And if you watch any of our episodes from Control Over C, there's a playlist on the channel, you'll see that he is incredibly critical of pretty much every content that he absorbs. Anything that he consumes, he is critical of. Movies, TV shows, music, people in general, critical. I, on the other hand, am a complete 180. I can criticize things, I can be critical, but I choose not to because it doesn't do anything. You know what I mean? It just makes me upset, you know? And that's what I understand to people, is like, you're just being upset to be upset at this point. But here's the deal. A lot of people are going to point at things like the Sonic movie, right? With the Sonic movie, you know, they shit on the character design, so, right? I mean, this is what the old Sonic was, right? He looked kind of sketchy, like he did meth or something. And then they redid him because the studio did get bullied, and I mean, granted, it did work, but here's the deal. 99% of the time, shitting on a product will not improve it in the way that you see fit. It will only prevent further product from getting made. Because you guessed it, why would they want to continue making product if you keep shitting on it, right? What's the old saying? I think it was Einstein. No, it wasn't Einstein. There is a quote by Einstein, but the one that I'm not going to say yet. But it's the exception that makes the rule, right? Or the exception that learns the rule, or something like that, right? Basically, Sonic was the exception. But 99% of the time, if you shit on a product to the creators incessantly, they're going to stop making it. And Einstein did say this best. This is the quote that I wanted to say. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. They're not going to keep making products for you if all you do is act like a dick. So if you couldn't tell, this has kind of been weighing on me for a while. It's just something that really irks me and gets my blood pressure going. I love being a fan of Resident Evil and, many other things that I love, but I just think the gatekeeping and the incessant criticism that these fandoms project onto these medias is just ridiculous. It's silly, and at this point, it's just, we're going to get to the point, because what's going to happen is that if you continue to just be critical of everything that they make, and you keep canceling shit, and you keep shitting on it, and it's going to close the door, right? And honestly, we're getting close to that with Resident Evil. The Resident Evil movies that Mila Jovovich created were pretty popular. The later ones kind of lost popularity. But Paul W.S. Anderson even said part of the reason why he thinks that Resident Evil will probably never ever have a successful iteration of a movie or a TV show is simply because of its fans. So somebody who literally experienced it firsthand is going to say that. And I'm sure somebody's going to say some stupid shit like, well, if Paul W.S. Anderson didn't make shitty-ass movies, well, he didn't make a shitty-ass movie. He just made his version of it. And I'm sorry you didn't like it, but that doesn't mean it's bad. There's no objective truth to that. It's a subjective feeling that everybody gets when they watch something they don't like it, and it's fine. I don't like every movie I watch, but I don't go out on the internet and seek out methods in which to shit about it. You know what I mean? That's what I don't get. But I genuinely think that people have this idea that if they're overly critical of something, whether it's music, movies, TV shows, Resident Evil video games, right, that they're going to get something better, right? But that's hardly the case. You know what I mean? And obviously this isn't exclusive to Resident Evil, but Resident Evil was rampant with this bullshit during the Netflix series debacle. And it's just, I don't know. I'm not going to keep going on about it, because I could talk about this for 10 more minutes and bring up a dozen more points as to why people who do this are stupid, but I'm not going to, because I don't have time. So let's move on. I hope you enjoyed. I know this is, not the normal thing that you would expect from me on a Friday, but it's something I want to talk about, and I feel like it's something that we could have a good dialogue about. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys people who think that being critical of films is going to do anything to help further the product? Or are you like me, and do you think that being critical of a film will only prevent further content from being created? Let me know in the comment section down below. But I hope that everyone out there is having a wonderful week, a wonderful Friday, and we're getting closer to the holidays. So, I hope that wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whomever you work for, I hope you have time off to spend with your families. I know I do. Very grateful for that. But yeah, and we're going to continue to put out content. I hope to do some holiday-related content here soon, and maybe give some feedback from there. But anyhow, hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you did, like and subscribe. Leave us a comment down below if you want to see a favorite theory covered, or whatever the case may be. Let me know about the McDonald's bagels, or what McDonald's item you want them to bring back. I know the snack wraps is a big one. Oh man, I love those. If you haven't already, listen to their Screams, the horror podcast that me and Dave Dynasty do. Links are in the description, or follow us anywhere at Listen to Screams. You heard that right. Listen to Screams. But I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go ahead and go get some lunch. I'm hungry. But I'm gonna be doing some fun stuff this weekend. Maybe I'll talk about them in the next episode. But yeah, we will see you next time in our next episode. Hopefully a conspiracy theory video. If not, we'll see what we got going on next week. But thank you so much. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy, and stay awesome. We will see you in the next one. See ya.